appreciate what you're doing, man. I know you got it.
I'm gonna need a.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have your attention, please. Just want to make the announcement that the graduation ceremony will be starting in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome. Welcome to the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, and welcome to the graduation ceremonies for the 8th session of the Southeastern Leadership Academy. I want to thank each of you that are here in person, and those that are joining us via social media as we are live streaming this program. If you would at this time, please rise for the presentation of the colors and the singing of our national anthem. Left, feet. Present on.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order on. Right, feet. Ready, step. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking Ms. Ella Snyder and the joint Hamilton County and Chattanooga Police Department Honor Guard for their rendition. Thank you. Great job. Please take your seats. Thank you. And listen, again, we are really, really pleased and thankful for you to be here. Again, my name is Derek Stewart, and I have the honor and the privilege of being the coordinator for the Southeastern Leadership Academy. And on behalf of the Law Enforcement Innovation Center, on behalf of the University of Tennessee and the graduates of the 8th session of the Southeastern Leadership Academy, I would like to thank you for being here to recognize these leaders for their great accomplishments. On today, as the 8th session graduates, this class joins the ranks of some of the nation's top trained law enforcement personnel. The legacy of the secular program that began over 15 years ago is continued today through this class, and is stronger now than ever before. For 5 weeks, they've experienced one-of-a-kind of leadership training. They have been exposed to current issues facing law enforcement, and they've been challenged to develop new ways to solve old problems. And they've been asked to take what they have learned and apply it to their respective departments. I'm extremely proud to have had the opportunity to continue to serve this noble calling, and the men and women who have answered that call and do answer that call day in and day out. Session 8, it has been my honor and my privilege to have served you over these 5 weeks. I thank you for your contributions to this class. I thank you for being receptive to leadership. And finally, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for what you are about to do as you take what you have learned and you apply it to the people that you lead. I've always heard that the best teams are made up of a bunch of nobodies who love everybody and will serve anybody, but don't care about becoming somebody. But Session 8, you have demonstrated to me, without a shadow of a doubt, that you are in fact somebody who can make a significant difference with everybody that you encounter. So I encourage you, as you leave this ceremony, as you leave this place today, to take what you have learned for the betterment of our profession and for the betterment of the people that you lead and the betterment of the people that we serve. Lead them as though their lives depended upon it, because in many ways, it does. It does depend upon your leadership. Doing this small thing neglects nobody, but allows everybody the opportunity to continue to contribute in a positive way, to help everybody be just a little bit better. I wish you the best of luck on your leadership journey, and Godspeed to each and every one of you. Thank you. At this time, I would like to take a moment to recognize all of the command staff members and the chiefs and the sheriffs that are represented here. I want to thank each and every one of these agencies for your continued support of law enforcement in general, but continued support of SELA specifically. This is an outstanding program, and these men and women have really developed in special ways. I do want to go ahead and point out some specific VIPs that we have here. I want to thank Chief Eve Thomas. She's here today. I want to thank Chief Mark Gibson for being here, Chief Randy Evans for being here, Assistant Chief McCullough from Chattanooga PD, Assistant Chief Smith from Cleveland, Assistant Chief Tisdale from Jackson. Thank you for being here. Lieutenant Kevin Kimbrough from the Tennessee Highway Patrol. Thank you, sir, for being here. Deputy Chief Green and Deputy Chief Gordon from the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department. Thank you for being here. There are a number of individuals that are here today, and I apologize if I missed somebody. I said I wasn't going to call out anybody specifically, but I had to do it. I apologize. I also want to recognize Evie West. I want to thank Evie West. Evie is here. She's from the Cleveland Police Department, and she made up some of the cadre of instructors that taught these leaders during these 5 weeks. I want to recognize them as well. I want to start with the LEIC team, beginning with the ladies that's back at the office that make things happen. They make us to be successful, and I want to thank them for their contributions to this class. I want to thank Dr. Jeff Lindsay. Dr. Lindsay, thank you for your contributions to this class and helping us to be successful and helping me to navigate these waters. I'm certainly appreciative of that. I want to thank my friend Jeff Hunley. Jeff Hunley is running the cameras. He's made a significant contributions to the success of this class. Other instructors that we had that were highly appreciated: Chief Robin Smith from the Oak Ridge Police Department, Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Tuggle with the Mississippi Highway Patrol. I'm thankful for him. Lieutenants Heather Williams and Brian Jones. They did an outstanding job. And I want to thank Sergeant First Class retired Greg Stubbe from the Special Forces. He made an outstanding presentation to us this week. I also want to take just a moment to thank the Leadership Roundtable presenters that we had on yesterday. We had an outstanding discussion that took place yesterday, and I want to thank Chief Eve Thomas. I want to thank Chief Mark Gibson and Chief John Drake from Metro. These individuals made the week. They made the week outstanding, and I'm certainly thankful for them. I want to thank and recognize John Freeze and Will Watson. Will is standing at the back. Their contributions here at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga was outstanding, so thank you for helping us to be successful. And then finally, I would like to recognize and thank Jennifer Brinkman from the Office of Criminal Justice Program. Part of the SELA program is funded by the Office of Criminal Justice Program, and we're certainly thankful for that contribution. Now that my remarks are out of the way, it is indeed my honor and my privilege to introduce our boss, not just a boss, but he's a great friend, Director Rick Scarborough.
Good morning and welcome to everybody here. Thank you for our leadership that's here, our family that is here, and a special thank you to our participants that went through this process. They were closely screened and vetted and prepared to participate and do university level work within the boundaries of law enforcement, and they did a fabulous job. Feedback I've gotten from Colonel Stewart's been incredible. Very consistent. We appreciate your participation. Yesterday I was able to listen on the panel discussions, and again, special thank you to our panel participants, but I was really impressed with those of you that were listening very attentively and asking questions and so forth, and just a great group. This, when we do Southeastern Leadership Academy, we focus on several things, but to dial it down and bring it, we want to make sure we can put these folks in leadership positions, build their leadership style, and put them out there in opportunities to lead others within their departments. And this program we can't have this program without participation of our strategic partners. And again, that goes to the leadership of sheriff's departments and police chiefs and our state troopers in the state of Tennessee. Colonel Stewart, can't say enough good things about Colonel Stewart. As you can tell, he's heavily invested. He's his first class. I can't think of anything else to say about Derek Stewart than first class. And I know you guys appreciate that, and this will be a fantastic time for you to show your appreciation to Colonel Stewart. To our staff LEIC, Derek did a great job in pointing out what they do for us. But again, each and every one of them is very important to us and what we do here at Law Enforcement Innovation Center and within the Institute for Public Service. We're one of 6 agencies that make up the Institute of Public Service. And again, we can't say enough about each individual role. Our program manager for Southeastern Leadership Academy is Dr. Jeff Lindsay. Jeff does a fantastic job. Again, heavily invested there. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate your help there. Again, Derek also pointed out Ms. Jennifer Brinkman. She's the Director of Office of Justice Programs for the for the state of Tennessee and the Finance Administration Office. Ms. Brinkman has been heavily invested in the Law Enforcement Innovation Center in several programs. Last year, she helped us implement and have our first West Tennessee SELA program. And again, very appreciative of her. And again, we do many programs here at Law Enforcement Innovation Center, and we're fortunate to have you folks in the audience here today that participate with us. I appreciate the phone calls. When you ask for assistance, we're more than happy to help. One thing at LEIC that we're proud of is we're very nimble in what we do, and we can turn around projects very quickly. And we want to show our appreciation in doing so. So anytime you need assistance, be sure to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to help you in any way we can possible. With that, I'm going to try to wrap up very quickly because I'm standing between you and the chance for you to go out and take these skills that you developed here the last 5 weeks and put them to good use. It's my honor to introduce the Vice President for Institute for Public Service, Dr. Herb Burt.
Thank you, Rick. It's a privilege for us to be able to do what we do from a number of perspectives, and we are grateful for each of you being here today. I especially want to thank the family members that invested in all of you that went through this session of SELA. They're taking care of things back home while you're here, and we recognize that and appreciate that. I also want to thank, as has been mentioned, the command staff that are here that have supported you as well, and your coworkers, fellow officers back home that covered while you invested this time in your learning, growth, and development. The culture of a learning organization starts with all the leaders in it. And so we applaud your investment in getting better. Somebody said, if I get better, we get better. And I think that's true because it's important that we grow and learn as we go along. I also want to thank folks here at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga for the partnership that we have in doing this. It means a lot to us. Those relationships and partnerships also are one of those things that make us better. So thank you. I know our LEIC staff took good care of you while you were here, and Colonel Stewart made sure that the curriculum and the other things that you learned while you were here were pertinent and would make a positive difference. But I want to take us back to a quick history lesson to help us understand why we're here. The University of Tennessee is a land-grant university system. And that may not mean a lot to a lot of folks here, but if you think back in 1862 when the first Morrill Act was passed that established the land-grant university system in the United States, there was not a college or university around every corner like there is today. Matter of fact, if you wanted an education, you could do it in the United States if you wanted to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a minister. Think about it, even Harvard University was established to train ministers at that time. If you wanted the kind of education that most of us get that's not in one of those three areas, you had to go across the Great Pond to get it. So Justin Morrill, that senator from Vermont, had a lot of foresight in recognizing that it was important to provide access to education close to folks all over the country. And that put a college or university in every state, and they call it land grant because they literally gave federal land to each state and said, sell this land, use the proceeds from it, and put a university somewhere in your state. Well, after a while, they figured out, well, we've got these universities, but we don't know everything we need to know to teach students. So in 1887, the Hatch Act was passed that said if you're going to be a land-grant university, you need to do research so you know what to teach and you can help people solve the problems that are important to them where they are. And after a while, they figured out, well, you know, we've accumulated all this knowledge, and we're teaching some students and passing it along to them, but we really need to get knowledge out and put it to work for more folks. So in 1914, the Smith-Lieber Act was passed that said at a land-grant university, you need to teach students, you need to do research, but you need to put working clothes on the knowledge that you have and put it to work solving problems for people all over the state. And so the outreach mission of the land-grant university was established. Now, I don't think Justin Morrill envisioned a bunch of folks in law enforcement coming together to study leadership because of what he put together. And it helps to illustrate that, you know, leadership happens in the decisions that we make and the relationships that we form, and we may be making decisions that impact people we'll never know, never see, might even not be born yet. And that illustrates the importance of what we're doing, what you've been doing over the last several weeks. So thank you for that investment that you've made. But the Institute for Public Service at the University of Tennessee is one of those outreach arms, and our whole mission is to take knowledge and put it to work, and to do it in a way that helps people deal with the issues and problems that they have day in and day out. That brings us here. But just like a university library, we can pile all of the knowledge in the world in a library somewhere, and unless we put it to work, it just gathers dust. It's absolutely useless. I have to tell you, I've learned a lot of things that sometimes I don't put into practice the way I really need to do. And that's one of the challenges, is putting to work the things that I know and the things that I've learned. And so that's one of your challenges as you leave here. You've added, I hope, skills to your toolbox that will help you as you lead. You've learned about dealing with difficult situations and how to address those. You have formed relationships with others that you can call and get advice from, but that investment is totally worthless unless you put it to work. I had a professor in college that used to say a lot, to know is to do. To not do is to not know. And when it came time for writing dissertation, he changed it up a little bit. He'd say, if the urge to write is not followed by writing, the urge was not to write. And that's true with leadership education that you've been engaged in. You're here because you are a leader. You're here because you want to improve on your leadership skills. But if those urges are not followed by leading, the urge wasn't to lead. Leading happens in what we do day in and day out, and again, the decisions that we make. So I applaud you for your investment in yourself as a leader. I applaud you in the investment that you have made in making the organization you serve in better. I applaud you for helping us make Tennessee the greatest place that there is to work and serve. Thank you for that investment. Thank you for letting us be a partner with you in that. I hope we'll see you often in the coming days and months and years, and congratulations on this accomplishment today.
Thank you, Dr. Berry. We certainly appreciate your support of this program and all that we do. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I really apologize for one aspect of it, because as I was sitting in my seat, I started reminiscing about my career, my 33 years with the Highway Patrol. And I know I could not go a day, a moment, without the love and support of my family. And so I wanted to take a moment to recognize and thank the family members that are here today that help support these leaders. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for loving them and supporting them, because they are incapable of doing their jobs without your love and support. So thank you for that. And now at this point, I would like to invite up to the stage the class president for SELA Session 8, Lieutenant Brandon Tennant, Metropolitan Nashville Police Department.
Good morning and welcome. First off, I would like to thank everyone in attendance this morning, friends, family, University of Tennessee LEI staff, and the executive members from all over the great state of Tennessee from our respective agencies. 4 months ago, these leaders right here and I came to Chattanooga from all over the great state of Tennessee. We attended classes on mentoring, emotional intelligence, strength-based leadership, managing the media, effective leadership traits, officer resiliency, and strategic planning, to name just a few. Each and every one of those classes, like Colonel Stewart likes to say, had some important nuggets that took each of us on our own personal leadership journey. Leadership is inconvenient. Leadership is 3 a.m. phone calls. Leadership is making the tough decisions when nobody else wants to. Leadership is having those courageous and often difficult conversations. Leadership is not always being the most liked or wanted person in the room. Leadership is carrying those burdensome loads so our people don't have to. But in the short time that I have considered myself a leader, it has rewarded me with some of the best feelings and the best memories of my career thus far. We as leaders all raised our right hands and swore to uphold the Constitution of the United States, the state of Tennessee, and the respective cities and counties that we are entrusted to keep safe. But the leaders in this room took that a step further. We all stepped up to those leadership roles in our departments and have been entrusted to not only to continue to serve our communities, but also to continue to serve the agencies of our employ, and that means we serve each and every trooper, deputy, and officer that we work with. I submit each of my fellow leaders in this room this challenge. Always continue to grow and learn. Self-reflect on who you are, where you are going, but never forget where you've been. You may often see a younger version of yourself in the faces of those that you lead. Keep your feet rooted in humility and take care of your people as they will take care of you. But most importantly, we must take care of ourselves. Strive for high ideals, keep a clear mind, a pure heart, and a healthy body. Now, if you guys wouldn't mind indulging me for a minute, I'm going to invite up my other elected class officers here to the stage. Our Vice President, Sergeant Tommy Massey from the Murfreesboro Police Department. Our Secretary and Treasurer, Sergeant Jesse Loy from the Metro Nashville Police Department. Sergeant Billy Atwell from the Chattanooga Police Department. Sergeant David Young from the Chattanooga Police Department. And Sergeant Nate Skellinger from the Knoxville Police Department. As these fine men are making their way to the stage, I just wanted to point out that we've had numerous instructors come through our classroom and present us with a variety of topics on leadership, but there's been one steady in our journey, and that's this man right here, Colonel Derek Stewart. When Colonel Stewart retired from the Tennessee Highway Patrol, he could have rode off into the sunset and enjoyed his much-deserved retirement, as the accolades of his career speak for themselves. But he didn't do that. He chose to come to work for the University of Tennessee LEIC, and after all of his years, he is still giving to this honorable profession. He is guiding each of us on our own personal leadership journeys. We have asked this man hundreds, probably thousands of questions, and he never once faltered at having the answer. Now, all of you standing here know that we can have a answer, but a answer is not always the right answer. The answer is, and that man always had it. For his guidance, mentoring, and leadership during the past 4 months, we are forever grateful. As a small measure of our appreciation, the class would like to present you with this token of our thanks. Thank you for being who you are and being a steward for each of us and our future successes.
Yes, sir, you're welcome. Thank you. This is awesome. I can't talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's great. That's fantastic. It's my honor to introduce our keynote speaker today, Director David Roush. Earned his bachelor's and master's degrees from the University of Louisville. He served 4 years in the United States Army, where he attained the rank of sergeant. He then served 25 years in the Knoxville Police Department, from 1993 to 2018, and served his last 7 years as Chief of Police. He also served the Department Special Operations Squad for 10 years. In June 2018, Governor Haslam appointed Roush to serve as the 9th Director of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Director Roush is a graduate of several prestigious law enforcement and leadership training programs, including the 105 Administrative Officers Course at Southern Police Institute, Class 218, FBI National Academy, the FBI Tennessee Law Enforcement Executive Development Seminar, Police Executive Research Forum, 40th Senior Management Institute, the FBI Leadership Counterterrorism Task Force Atlantic Session, FBI 36th National Executive Institute, United States Secret Service Executive Protection Seminar, United States Army War College Commandant's National Secretary Program, and Leadership Knoxville, Leadership Tennessee. Director Rouse has served in leadership roles in numerous community and professional service organizations, including International Association of Chiefs of Police, the Appalachia High Tennessee Drug Trafficking Areas, and Tennessee Association of Chiefs of Police. Director Rouse strives to be a servant leader and embrace the 7 pillars of servant leadership. He desires to live as a person of character who puts people first, and a skilled communicator and compassionate collaborator. He has a keen foresight for a systems thinker who leads with moral authority. I'd like to introduce you to my friend, Director David Roush.
Thank you, Rick. I appreciate that. You know, that one thing you all will find is you'll need to write a bio, and man, those can be just excruciating. But you know, it is what it is. Let me start by expressing my sincere appreciation for who you are and what you do every day, for your service to your communities, for what you do to keep us safe. Thank you. I know we don't hear that enough, but you need to hear it. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your service. We appreciate that. To the family members and the friends that are here, to my peers in leadership, thank you all for being here. Thank you for showing your support to these folks. It is critical. It's important that they know that they have a support system. And to the family members, as was mentioned, thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for allowing them to take this journey, for allowing them to have the opportunity to focus on earning and gaining skills to make them better as leaders as we move forward. And to the SELA class, congratulations. Congratulations on your accomplishment for completing this course. I hope that is yet one of many learning experiences and leadership trainings that you will embark upon for your future. I want to thank Dr. Bird and Rick for asking me to speak for a moment to close out your program. Now, I understand that I am the one thing that stands between you and home, and so I will adhere to the 3 B's in public speaking. I will be brief, I will try to be brilliant, and I will be gone. And so we'll move that way. As mentioned, I have the honor of serving as the director of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. This has been an amazing opportunity for me to serve this great state that I chose to be a resident of 29 years ago this month. And I had the honor to spend 25 years of this in Knoxville and to wear the uniform of the Knoxville Police Department, and ultimately had the opportunity to serve as the chief of police. Now, my leadership style has been refined over the years, and I've learned who I am and what works for me, and you will have that opportunity to do the same. As was mentioned, I'm a servant leader. I follow the 7 pillars of servant leadership as they're explained by James Sipe and Don Frick in their book by that same name. I have a single leadership mantra that I use at the Bureau, and I've instilled in all of our leadership team, and it's a very simple one, and I tell our team, it's simple yet very complex. Our main role in leadership is to take care of those people assigned to us and their families. That's it. It's not any more complicated than that. Take care of your people and take care of their families. If you do that really well, they're going to take care of the organization, and then the organization will thrive. We've been doing that now for 4 years at the Bureau, and it's working. One other key aspect to leadership that I've learned is to be myself. My imperfect, infallible, humble, and honest self with full transparency. I make mistakes, I accept those mistakes. I ask for grace, and I give grace. Most importantly, I make it well known that I am a man of faith, and that I allow others to share whatever their faith is. To be honest, I truly don't know how you can do this profession without faith. I don't know how you can do that. As I get closer to the larger decades in my age, the numbers, as they keep ticking off, I'll reach another one of those decades this year. What I realize is that we are here for yet 3 seasons, right? We have a season to live, we have a season to love, and we have a season to die. That's it. That's how simple life is. We have the opportunity to influence the first 2 of those. The third one is appointed to us. And so during those first 2, those seasons to live and seasons to love, we control that. What you choose to do impacts that. And your choice to be here is a statement. And I appreciate that statement that you've made. So I think it's important that we do everything we can to influence those 2, so that when the third one comes, there's no what ifs, there's no should haves, there's no could haves, or any of that, right? That we've lived life to its fullest, we've loved as full as we can love, and then we're ready for that third. My promotional processes over the years, I've been blessed and given a lot of great opportunities. When I was first promoted to supervision and leadership as a sergeant, I and my peers who I was promoted with were required to take a management psychological. I remember that, Eve. And we were then called in to discuss the results with then Chief Phil Keith, who, by the way, is an icon in policing and just recently served as the director of the COPS office for the Department of Justice. Well, there was a question Phil asked me that I'd never been asked before. And the question he said was, "What is your reading diet?" And, I thought I'd be a little funny with that. And I said, "Well, I don't eat books." I thought it was funnier than he did, obviously. He pressed the question, "What are you reading?" And I had to be honest, that I hadn't picked up a book since college. And I explained that, that's it. The last book I read was in 1992, and this was 1998. So I soon learned the importance of the reading diet. That lesson was about knowledge and the need to never stop learning. And what you've just accomplished with this course is an important step in that journey. I've been provided a lot of amazing opportunity to attend some of the best leadership programs in this country, some awesome training presentations by some of the best in our profession. In a couple of those meetings, Rick was with me, actually, and I coined a term at one of those meetings that now has many meanings that we didn't realize it would take on. We were sitting listening to a conversation and a presentation about how we respond to crisis and people in crisis and the actions and efforts that go in. And I mentioned that we needed to rethink how we do that, and I used the term tactical repositioning. And what that means is simply slowing things down, backing up, taking cover, right, and then making good decisions. Over the years, that has taken on some different meanings to me in political encounters, with the media, in a number of situations. Tactical repositioning is a way of responding, right? Slowing things down. Sometimes you need to take cover, especially with the media. Eve understands. And so it just happens, right? And so, but being able to then reapproach with a reframed and refocused effort. So I think we've learned also, one of the things we learned was as tacticians, we play chess, not checkers, right? It's a whole different game. And we have to understand that that approach to how we do business means a lot. So we've learned a lot of gems over the years that have molded and modeled who we are as leaders. So my question to each of you is, what's next? Right? What are you planning to do? You need to have a plan. You need to be reading. You need to be learning. And you need to be ready. The profession is constantly changing. I don't need to tell you that. The past few years, the pace of change has been dizzying. Expectations for police service is so much more complex than it was when I joined in 1993. Heck, it's actually much more complex than when I left local policing in 2018. It just keeps changing. The one key and the one constant that we know is that we have to continue to prepare to lead. This requires us to learn everything that we can. It requires attending training courses like this, and it requires having that reading diet. So I brought some props along from my library just to share with you some of the things, some of the books that have helped me along the way in my quest to be better today than I was yesterday. So a couple of them are some of the classics. Now you'll notice that none of them have teeth marks in them, so I haven't been chewing on them. And some of you may have already read these books, and if you have, then humor me for the next few moments. So the first of these classics that I've read, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. I don't know if you've read this one, but great text. The key takeaways from this text is that there are skills that you need, and you need to build and work on these skills and your key skills to be a productive leader. Another is a great one, Good to Great by Jim Collins, right? And the key takeaway on this book is learn your team, get the team on the bus, and then get them in the right seats on that bus. And if you do that and you do it really well, you're going to have a highly successful organization. Two of those great old ones. Thanks. I probably should have had a bigger platform. Another one of the that I found extremely helpful with leading organizations is The Art of War for Managers. Sun Tzu is the author of The Art of War, and a lot of people think that the application is solely for the military, and it's not. But Sun Tzu, The Art of War for Managers, by Gerald Michelson. And what it has in here is there are 50 strategic rules that Sun Tzu laid out. And if you follow those rules, you lay out the core, solid foundation for an organization. And it helps you as a leader to be able to be adaptable to what is going to come at you. Another great resource. So there are a couple of great reads from an internet sensation that I got to meet, and some really top-notch reading. So from Simon Sinek, and Simon, the first is start with why, right? And Simon in this text talks about the importance of knowing where you're going and why you're going there, so that you can get there easier. Right, and so starting with why is a great book to get you there, and then this one really impacted me, and it's called Leaders Eat Last. Right, and this was taken actually. I met a retired Air Force. This was taken from the Air Force. Simon spent some time studying Air Force leaders, and what he learned was watching them is the leaders would always wait until all of the troops got the opportunity to eat first, right? And then he expands that into the real important piece is making sure that your team gets everything that they need first, right? That's the key to this, taking care of your team and really looking out for them. So then a few of the newest books that I've picked up and read that I think have some great pieces to it as well. So Daniel Pink, it's a book called When, The Scientific Secrets of Perfect Timing. Now the interesting thing in Pink's book here is he talks about timing is not, it's a scientific act. It doesn't just happen, right? We all have a timing cycle, and it's critical to know what your cycle is, and then it's as critical to know your team's cycle so that you can help them perform at their highest potential. And so a great text to get you there. The last two that I have read, so this one I read flying over to Korea recently for an international policing meeting, and it's called Talking to Strangers. What We Should Know About the People We Don't Know by Malcolm Gladwell. Now, in this text, Gladwell talks about the importance of talking to people, just taking the time to learn other people's perspectives, right? Because we all filter things through our own personal filter, and we don't always see what others see. We don't always experience what others experience. And so it's about, especially for policing, there are a lot of lessons in here for us, right? About slowing things down, about taking the time to have a conversation, right? About listening. A critical read, I think, especially in today's environment. And then the last one that I just read, actually on a flight out and back from Phoenix just a couple weeks ago. It's called Social Chemistry, Decoding the Patterns of Human Connections by Marissa King. So first is a quote that she has in the book that I thought was really explicit and explained what society really is, right? And this is from Melville. And Melville said, "We cannot live for ourselves alone. Our lives are connected by 1,000 strands, invisible threads. And along these sympathetic fibers, our actions run as causes and return as results." So let that sink in, what that really means, right? We're all connected, right? And as we act, as we do what we do, as things go out, right? Those are the causes. Those are the reasons. And then they come back to us as results. So what we do impacts what comes back at us. And as leaders, I think we have to understand that and be prepared and understand the importance and the value of what we put out and what's coming back to us. I think that's critical. Also in this text, it talks about three types, the importance of networks and networking. You guys clearly understand the importance, hopefully now, by getting to interact with this crew that you've had the opportunity to be with and spend some time with. Your network is constantly growing and should, and it's vital, especially in this profession, to be able to pick up that phone and call somebody that is outside of your space to get some insight, or just to have them listen to you. It's critical. The network is critical. And there are three types of networkers that Marissa explains in the text, and those are expansionists, brokers, and conveners. And it's important for us to understand what our style is, but more important, to understand the style of others, and especially our team members, to know how it's going to work within our team. And so, it's vital to understand networks in our organization for the health of the organization. She talks a lot about the impact of the negative person, how strong that impact is, and you've probably seen that in your time, regardless of who you are and what you do. But those negative people can pull an entire organization down, and how important it is to stop that in its tracks, and how to turn that as quickly as you can. Some great gems in that text. So my hope to you is that you pick up a few of these books and take a look at them, and others. These are just a few. That's 9 texts I've talked about from my reading diet, from my library that's now over hundreds of books that have given me insight and helped me understand the role that we have as leaders, and how we use what we have and the opportunities we're given. So I'd ask you to to grab one of those books, or I guess for this generation would be to download it and listen on audio books or read it on a tablet. But I know these are kind of antique, and not a lot of folks pick them up anymore. But I'm still old school when it comes to reading. I have to have the thing in my hand to get through it. But I'd encourage you to pick up something and get some value out of it as you continue in your journey for leadership and continue to lead. So again, I congratulate you on this great accomplishment, very distinguished accomplishment. I wish you the best in your pursuits and in your careers. Please know that if I can ever be of service to any of you at any time, just reach out. I'm easy to find. And so anything at all that I can do personally for you or that we as a Bureau can do, don't hesitate to let us know, right? And lastly, I just as you head out, I pray God's protection on you as you travel, but also as you continue in your service to your communities and to our great state. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Rouse. You know, throughout our 5 weeks here at SELA, we talked about particular topics. We talked about budgeting and various things, but one consistency that we had throughout the program, and we kind of wrapped it up this week as well, we talked about the 5 exemplary practices of leadership. And the number one on that list, the number one bullet on that list is model the way. And I have to say, Director Roush has been one of those individuals that's done that very thing. He's modeled the way. He is a walking, talking example of what a leader is in law enforcement today. And so, Director Roush, thank you. Thank you for your continued service and all that you've done. All right, it is at this time we'd like to ask the class to come forward for the presentation of your certificates. Family members, you're welcome to come up to get photos. They will be coming across the stage over here to my left. William Atwell, Chattanooga Police Department. Gary Benton, Jackson Police Department. The better half of the Benton family, Jackie Benton, Jackson Police Department. And she's a captain too, she's a lieutenant.
She's my boss at home and work.
Brian Bumpus, Knoxville Police Department. Andy Clendenin, Tennessee Highway Patrol. Stephen Inkstrom, Vanderbilt Police Department. Cody Fox, Cleveland Police Department. Jeffrey Glass, Cookville Police Department. Lisa Hill, Anderson County Sheriff's Office. Cody Henson, Cleveland Police Department. James Holloway from the Chattanooga Police Department. He could not be here today. We certainly want to wish him the best on as he goes forward. John Carlsbin, Crossville Police Department. Justin Kilgore, Chattanooga Police Department. Jesse Lloyd, Metropolitan Nashville Police Department. Jeff Martinez, Middle Tennessee State University Police Department. Crystal Massey, Crossville Police Department. Tommy Massey, Murfreesboro Police Department. Bryant Mitchell, Murfreesboro Police Department. Jeffrey Poore, Tennessee Highway Patrol. Matthew Purvis, Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. Ronald Rice, Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. Ryan Rogers, Maryville Police Department. Jeff Searcy, Gallatin Police Department. Nate Skellinger, Knoxville Police Department. Brian Stovall, Cleveland Police Department. Brandon Tennant, Metropolitan Nashville Police Department. Andy Wattenbarger, Cleveland Police Department. David Young, Chattanooga Police Department. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I present to you Session 8 of the Southeastern Leadership Academy. Let's give it a round of applause. Thank you. Okay, at this point, I would like to take a moment to present the SELA Leadership Award. The SELA Leadership Award will recognize and honor the outstanding leader for this session. The students were asked to nominate and elect an individual who has excelled as a leader in this session. While attending this session, this person would have demonstrated the following traits: strong ethics and integrity, honesty, morality, and values, would have shown and demonstrated leadership within the class, dedication to the program, and continues a strong devotion to our profession. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present the SELA Leadership Award for Session 8 to Tommy Massey. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our ceremony for this morning. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. I want to thank those that are joining us on the live stream. Thank you for your continued support. I pray God's travel mercies upon each of you as you travel back to your homes, and wish you the best of luck this year. Thank you.